Welcome to True Crime, Authors and Extraordinary People, the podcast where we bring two passions together. The show that gives new meaning to the old adage, truth is stranger than fiction, and reminding you that there is an extraordinary person in all of us. Here is your host, David McClam.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of True Crimes, Authors and Extraordinary People. Of course, I'm your man, David McClam. Hey, if you guys haven't already, make sure you follow us on all of our social media. One link to a link tree will get you every place you need to go pertaining to the show. And as I always remind you, if you are someone or you know someone that feels like they want to hurt themselves or someone else, please leave this episode and dial 988. It is the suicide prevention hotline. You can call them or text them. They will get you the help that you need. And in case no one else has told you this today, let me be the first to tell you that I do care and I do need you to be here. There is nothing worth your life. All right, guys. Sorry that I did not release an episode last week. The reason for that is because I have been troubled with the things going on in the world. I have a couple things going on in personal life, but mainly because of the things that's happening in the world. Things surrounding the Charlie Kirk assassination, things surrounding the now government shutdown, things surrounding the way the world is running as a whole. Looking over everything else, other creators and podcasters that's done stories on these, I did my own, which was the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I do stand by everything I said in that episode. I wanted to take a look around and see what was going on in the world. What was everybody else talking about? What was everybody else looking at? So I'm coming at you at the angle today that no one else seems to be going. The angle that we all should be going at. The angle that the President of the United States should have taken the moment that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about unity. What this is not going to be is there's a lot of things I could say about the Charlie Kirk assassination. There's a lot of things I could break down to you about that, about why black people acted the way that it is, about why some people feel that maybe Charlie Kirk was hateful by the own words that he spat. But I'm not doing that today. For one, that has been beat to death. I can give you links of channels that everybody else has talked about it, including my own. I talked about it a little bit in necessity with Charlie Kirk. But today we're going to talk about what the world needs, and that's unity. See, there's a lot of things that's going on in the world right now that is a total distraction to you. One of them is this whole nonsense about the rapture supposed to come a few days ago. Now, that's put out to you by the Christian nationalists. And all I'm going to say is for those of you that follow that, you nor the people that put that out know anything that the Bible says when it pertains to the rapture. Because if you did, there would have been a lot of people selling their stuff. And I think there's a couple of stars I heard that stopped paying taxes because they thought the rapture is going to happen. Well, let me give you straight from the Bible and what the Bible says about that. Matthew 24:36 says, "But about that day or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father." So what that's telling you is even Jesus don't know when he coming back. God's going to be like, son, it's time to go. Eastern sky's going to crack. He going to come back, but never at the time that we as man says he's supposed to. I want you guys to keep that in mind. For those of us that says we believe in the Bible and God and we're Christians, this is what the blueprint of Christianity, which is the Bible, says. Again, Matthew 24:36, "But about that day or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father." So the next time somebody tells you the rapture's coming, remember this verse. Now, the other distraction that's going on does have to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. All I'm going to say about that is, people, you need to look around. There's a lot of things that you are not seeing that is staring at you in plain sight about that. I've done some digging into it. I am not a conspiracy theorist at all, but there is a number of things that I have even lined up. Being a sound technician myself, because a lot of sound technicians just went in to see with the time and the sound and all that stuff. There's some things that don't add up. But this benefits the government right now. The one thing that troubles me about that young man's death is it's now being used technically as a grift. They're trying to get people to sign up for Turning Point, and they're trying to raise funds for new chapters, I guess. And now you got people that's signing petitions to put his favorite drink on the Starbucks menu. This is all nonsense because this is not what we should be doing around his death. We should have been unifying. And I'm not here to talk bad about the widow, but she should have started that long before she made the comment that she did make them grateful for at his funeral. A lot of people did come down on Erica Kirk because of the things that she said, what, $24 to $40 after his death. Maybe that's the way she grieved. But she did come back and say that she forgave the man that shot her husband and that there should be no further violence. Unity is what we need. All of these smoke and mirrors. And unfortunately, his death has become one of those. Trump didn't even act like he really cared, did he, when they interviewed him about that? But we need unity. War ain't gonna do any good. And the left and the right going at it ain't gonna do any good. Look at the world and the state in which it is in. I feel like I'm living life backwards because all the things that's happened to people of my color, my ancestors and my moms and my grandparents already fought this road. And I feel like I'm back fighting the same road that they fought some 400 plus years ago. And now today we're back in the same boat. We need to embrace each other. We need to come together to fight the injustices. Whether you voted for Trump or not, whether you agree with his policies or not, is here. You can look around the world yourself and you can tell that we're in a bad state. We're in a government shutdown right now. Now, you can say whatever you want to say about Biden, but when's the last time we had a government shutdown? The last time we had a government shutdown was when the current president was the president back in the 2016 to 2020 term. How do you get that unity? First of all, you band together. You stop letting the things that divide us, which isn't many, get in the way. But the rhetoric of those that want the world to go in the way in which they want it to go wants to keep creating that narrative. They want you to keep believing that the left side or the Democrats is the radicals and we're causing all these problems. They want you to keep believing that black people are dangerous and we're going to go into your cities and rip it all apart. They want you to keep believing that there's too many Mexicans and Puerto Ricans and other Hispanics over here that we got to get rid of them. This is all to divide, because if you look at the way the world was running, not even a year and a half ago, you know that none of that stuff is true. You know that our farms was bustling. I just read a thing that up under Joe Biden, farmers that farm soybean made like $18 million. They've made nothing now. I live in California. I think you get avocados, pistachios, and a number of other things from us. Dude, we have peaches, beautiful farms of peaches out here, all dried up because farmers are hurting because of what's going on right now. So we need unity to get behind the farmers, to push the administration to knock off the nonsense, to make Trump do what he said he was going to do when he was campaigning, which was lower prices of food, lower gas prices, make life better for the farmers. The last time I checked, we're paying $16 to $22 for just 12 eggs. It's almost $30 for a case of 60. I don't see anything dropping. We need to stand together for the better cause of democracy and the better cause of ourselves as human beings in this nation. If we don't, the world as we know it, which is already turning, is going to go full-blown crazy. There's people that is turning their backs now And I'm not talking about the people that just strolled in. I'm talking about diehard 30, 40-year Republicans that's now turning their back on the current administration. Some people are turning Democrat because of it. But you can look around for yourself with that. But we need to come together as a people. We need to say that we care about each other. We need to take up the mantle of the great Martin Luther King Jr. No matter what happened, he always preached nonviolence. If you know anything about the history of Martin Luther King Jr.'s death and John F. Kennedy's death, they've always been linked. It's always been believed that both of those men was taken out for the exact same reason. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was orchestrated and began with John F. Kennedy. And everybody wants to abolish that bill. Well, that bill gets you a whole lot of stuff. It wasn't just for black people. It's for everybody. Women's right to vote, part of that bill. But Martin Luther King preached nonviolence all the time. All the time. You can hit him in the head with a cinder block. He's preaching nonviolence. And he preached for all people. Yes, he was like me, unapologetically black. He cared about the black people, but he spoke of unity with all men and all women, no matter what color, creed, or race. Or did you not hear the I Have a Dream speech? Yes. At the beginning of that speech, it was all about the black person, the Negro. When he told you that 100 years later, the Negro is still enslaved, and we still feel that way to a large degree. But go to the bottom of that speech. Let me just give you that last part of his speech. This is where we need to be thinking. This is where we need to be as a nation. This is what great leaders do. Martin Luther King Jr. could just put up and say, I don't really give a dang about anybody else but black Americans because this is what they did to us. But he knew that the only way that we would make the dream come true, the only way that the world would ever be whole, the only way that we will all march together forward is actually that, together. This is what he said at the end of his speech. He says, I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day when all God's children will be able to sing with new meaning. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's bride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be great again, this must become true. And so let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And when this happens, and when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring, from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual. Free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last. That is what we need to be doing. We all need to join hands. Martin Luther King Jr. saw that in the dream, the only way we get to what we need to get to in America is by doing so. He pretty much says this again in his I've been to the mountaintop speech. He says he's seen what the world can be. He may not get there with us, but he's seen the promised land. We have to unify. We have to put racism aside. We have to put aside our political differences. We have to embrace each other to get through what we are about to go through, because what we're about to go through is bad for everyone. If you look at the nation now, there has been cuts to SNAP benefits. People need those. There's been cuts to Medicare. The government is shut down right now because the Democrats and the Republicans cannot agree on just that. There is fighting at the Hill. In my opinion, there's one man that wants to take over this whole entire nation, and there's been a lot of people that's armed him in which to do so. There has been discord in this nation for the last 9 months straight. There's been people that's been deported that shouldn't have been deported. There's been people that's been messed with that should never be messed with. There's been holidays that's been cut. There's been rights that's been taken. Wake up, people. This is what we're fighting. No matter where you stand, you are not that blind to see what's going on. And a lot of this, I have to say it, is all because Donald Trump does not want the Epstein files to be released. This is a lot of your smoke and mirrors right now. Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker of the House, refuses, and still to this day refuses, to swear in Alita Grahava, who won her seat as a Democrat overwhelmingly. But why won't he do that? It's all because the moment that he does, she represents the 218th signature that is needed to take a vote to the House, I believe, for them to release the Epstein files to the House and the Senate. He won't do that because he's trying to protect Donald Trump under that. And Donald Trump has lost a lot of his base based on not releasing the Epstein files. We have to demand these things, people, whether you like him or you don't. You have to know what our leaders is doing. And that case is a deadly case. I've covered the case. There's a lot of ladies that's been all over this case. There's people that's taking their life over this case. If our president is on that list, no matter who he is, we need to know. We need to know who everybody's on that list because they ought to be held accountable for the pain that these young ladies went through. Unity. Let me tell you what I came to this year. I've looked around the world because I said there's got to be some place in America where racism does not exist. Even if for a moment of time, even if for but a second, I said there's got to be some place where racism doesn't exist, where people get together and they're not caring about the color of the person sitting next to them. They're not caring about the color of the people that they may be there to see or wherever they're going. They're just there because they want to have a good time. They all have something in common that day. And whatever was taking place is it. And then it hit me. There is a place in America that millions of people spend their money and go to every year. That for that snippet of time, there is no racism. And if there is racism, you don't know it, you don't see it, or you don't feel it, at least during the time things is going on. Do you guys know what that is? Concerts. Music brings people together. Sometimes if you listen to the lyrics of your favorite song, you may find out some things that you may not even know, or if you care to dig into that artist. I'll give you one of those here in a few minutes. I've been to 11 concerts this year. Now, unless one creeps up I don't know about, then 11 will be the number that I'll end 2025 with. Let me just give you the names of the concerts I went to. Dustin Lynch, Kool and the Gang, The Beach Boys, TLC, Post Malone, featuring Jelly Roll, Weird Al Yankovic, featuring Puddle's Pity Party, Queen's Nation, Journey Revisited, Vixen, Quiet Riot, and Midland. Yes, Queen's Nation and Journey Revisited are cover bands, but they're very well known cover bands. Queen and Journey has given their blessing for these two bands to go out and do what they do, which is why they can have Queen and Journey in their title. Now, yes, I spend a lot of money we have in concerts, Yeah, let you know a little secret. Dustin Lynch, Kool and the Gang, the Beach Boys, and TLC. The first four I went to of this year, I have to thank my great city of Palmdale. So what Palmdale does every year is they take a portion of the tax money that we pay and they put that aside because they say they want to throw concerts every year that matters, that people and families can go to, and they will be affordable. Now, when I tell you this, you may want to live in Palmdale just for the summer to go to some of these concerts. Now, I've seen other concerts here. There's an outside amphitheater that we do have that we go to. And I mean, I've seen Moore's Day in the Time there. We've seen Danny DeCane there. There was a Garth Brooks tribute band we saw there. There's been a lot of big names that's come there. Each one of those tickets cost me $12 to go. Now, Post Malone, Weird Al, they wasn't as cheap. Queen's Nation, Journey Revisited, Vixen, Quiet Riot, and Midland all came to my fair. So unless you really wanted to sit close, then you could go to these concerts for free by just sitting up in the grandstands. Now, when Quiet Riot came, Quiet Riot also was supposed to have with them Ace Frehley, the guitarist from Kiss. Ace was supposed to be the headliner. Ace pulled out the day before, so they refunded everybody's ticket. So what I did not know and found out later is since they refunded everybody's ticket, even though Quiet Riot did show up like they were supposed to and they did their thing, every seat in the house was free. So you could have went down to the front, middle, top, wherever you wanted to go. But here's what I experienced at each of these concerts. Now, if you want to put race into it, Dustin Lynch, the Beach Boys, and Midland, you would say would be predominantly white. So two of those are country acts. And of course, the Beach Boys, they've kind of over the years described their music as a mix of surf rock, pop, and psychedelic type styles, right? They could probably go for anybody, but that ain't the mix that was at this concert. And before anybody says anything, it ain't just because the concert was free, because I don't care if it's free or not. If I don't like the kind of music, don't like you, I'm not going. There was some of every race in Palmdale at these concerts. Now, if you really want to argue the music debate, Black people ushered in a lot of the music that you listen to now. A lot of the chops for country and rock and fusion and jazz was all taken from African Americans. But every African American does not like these genres. I like every genre of music. I probably have at least one person I listen to and probably about every genre of music you can think of, including the Latin scene. But I looked around. I was like, I want to see who's all going to be here. So during this concert, I'm looking around, I'm taking observations. At all these concerts, I'm seeing the same thing. Nobody was caring who was at the left. Nobody cared who was at the right. Nobody at that point cared who was Republican or Democrat. Nobody cared what was going on in the world for that 3 hours in time. Everybody was unified for that 3 hours. Everybody was there because they had a common interest, which was the band in which they came to see. And even though we know the color of the band, nobody cared if they was black or white. There was a couple of bands that had some that was an all white band, but they had a black person playing with them. Nobody said, oh my gosh, there's a black person. The black person ain't supposed to be in this band. Nobody cared. All they cared about was the music. I was at 2 certified sellouts this year. TLC. And the joke was, wow, what is Dustin Lynch feeling? Because Dustin Lynch was the first concert of the year at the Palmdale Amphitheater. And he didn't sell out. Kool and the Gang didn't sell out. The Beach Boys, I was like, okay, the Beach Boys gonna sell out for sure. Kool and the Gang I thought was going to, but didn't. Beach Boys still had tickets available the day of the show. TLC came. This ain't the first time TLC came. TLC came to this same theater back in 2019, I believe. Did not sell out. This year they sold out. We went to get tickets like 2 days before, and it was like, sorry, sold out. And I'm like looking at the Beach Boys. I'm like, Beach Boys still got tickets because they was the next band. I said, they still got tickets. TLC has none. We barely got into the TLC concert. We had a friend that knew somebody that was able to get us tickets, and we was able to get in. If it wasn't for our friend, we wouldn't have made it because we thought there was going to be plenty of tickets. We went to buy the tickets. There was none there. The second sellout that was certified, Weird Al Yankovic. Played at the Kia Forum, better known as the Forum, in LA. Now, everybody thinks it was a made-up town, but there is such a place called Linwood, California. Weird Al released an album years ago called Straight Outta Linwood. So this was his home show, and they didn't disappoint. Sold out. There was not an empty seat in the house. And these seats in the Kia Forum is not big, right? There's little tiny seats. Every row was full. So I was my wife to the left and somebody I didn't know to the right. We didn't care. Puddle's Pity Party came out and just wrecked the crowd before Weird Al came out. If you guys have not heard of him, he was on AGT a few years back. He is a clown, but the man has a velvet voice. Look him up. Puddle's Pity Party. He does this song called Bring Him to the House that will just melt your heart. Even then, nobody cared. Here's what really got me. Queen's Nation. We went to that concert. Halfway through the middle of the concert, they decided to do We Will Rock You. This group of black girls just shows up at the bottom stairs where we were sitting at. They start dancing and singing and pumping fists. Nobody said, can the black people please sit down? Nobody told them to leave. Nobody said you don't belong here. Nobody had a fit. People got up and started rocking with them. Nobody cared what color anybody else was for the 3 hours each that I said at each of these concerts. People was high-fiving when Weird Al did their favorite song. People was giving hugs if something was emotional. People was slapping hands. Black, white, indifferent. Here's another one that I give you that everybody probably watches. I watch a lot of AGT, America's Got Talent. Look at that audience. That audience is jam-packed. Now, I've looked inside of this theater. People, what you don't know about Hollywood theaters down here is when they shoot these camera shots, they're made to look bigger than what they are. I give you case in point. When I first went to The Price is Right, I was floored. Now, if you look at The Price is Right theater, when they're shooting it and you're watching the show, you would think that this is some massive place, right? Because they come on down and the aisle is like it's 15 miles long before they get down to Bob Barker or Drew now. It is not that big. I was there years ago for taping of Hollywood Squares. To show you how long ago that was, Macho Man Randy Savage, the wrestler, was on the show, and he had just released his new album, Think Like a Man. At that show, I won a copy of that CD that I still have. And it's shot in the same theater as Price is Right. It was not big. It's tiny. So all these people you see jammed in together, they're really jammed in there. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, you name it, all in this group. Look at that audience. Nobody is caring. And look at them doing the act. If somebody gets up, oh man, I hope this is good. Oh, man, that was really great. All in unison, all just talking to each other. No matter what color, nobody cares. When the crowd reacts and says, we like this act, send them the golden buzzer, everybody is on their feet. Nobody saying, oh my gosh, because that dude came in wearing a MAGA hat, can't vote for him. Oh, he's white, don't like him because he's white, don't like him because he's black. No, can't do it. Matter of fact, there was a girl that said she had gotten bullied, and a lot of it was because of the color of her skin, and the whole audience booed. Now, yes, you can say, since I've been to some tapings of these shows, that, okay, well, they make them do that, and they make them sit that way, and they tell them to clap. Okay, I will tell you this. Yes, they do have certain rules. They do have an applause sign. They also has a rules that you cannot get up and leave to go to the bathroom during taping. But they do not tell you how to feel. They do not tell you how to react. They do not tell you to make sure that you shaking hands with your neighbor and make sure that they different colors. They don't control any of that. I just told you I put that same theory in the real world scenario when I went to all these concerts this year. I saw the same thing. For that 3 hours, I felt like I was unified with America again. For that 3 hours, I felt like America was on top of its game. For that 3 hours, I felt like I could walk up to anyone, a cop included, and be like, dude, that was a great concert, bro. Let me give you a high five. And it would be accepted. But then when I get back into the real world, I see that that's not the case because we're not really unified the way we should be. I'll give you one of the artists in which I was talking about. This kind of hones into the Christian side because everybody's preaching Christianity about this thing, right? MAGA says they're Christians. Democrats say they Christians. I am a Christian, know what that means to be one. I disagree with the Christianity that MAGA is preaching because it's what they call white nationalists. I just prove you with the whole rapture thing has nothing to do with Christianity because Christ is against everything that this administration at this point is standing for. But there was once a musician that put all that out there on the line for you. He started preaching in his songs, and before he fully accepted Christ, he always believed that there was a Christ. And he started writing lyrics to certain songs that if you paid attention, it was dealing with what we're going through right now, as early as 1982. But see, what I come to find out is that a lot of people listen to songs, but they don't take the time to try to find out what the words mean. The artist I'm speaking of is Prince. I'm a huge Prince fan. Anybody who knows me knows that I love Prince. I have almost every album the man has ever released, and the Super Bowl halftime show that he did is the number one halftime show on my list, followed by Michael Jackson. And if you guys don't know anything about that, go look that up because it's a fascinating story. It rained that year. It was the first and only year at this point that it's ever rained at a Super Bowl. And they called up Prince and said, bro, we worried. It's raining. We know you have those beautiful ladies that's in 7-inch heels. You wear 2 to 5-inch heel yourself. We're just concerned. Prince's answer to that was, can you make it rain harder? And if you watch that Super Bowl show, I think God intervened that year because I think at some point it rained most of the game. I think at some point it stopped raining, at least to a drizzle. And then when Prince took the stage, it was raining. And by the time we got the Purple Rain, it was an all out downpour. Do you know that Prince wrote 3 songs about the end times? They're some of his most popular songs. One you may not know unless you have the B-side. Let me just give you the biggest one that he wrote. But first of all, the first song was 1999. 1999 was about the apocalypse. The beginning of the lyrics of that song goes, don't worry, I won't hurt you. I only want you to have some fun. Now, if you listen, I think it's supposed to be females, but the voice is kind of distorted, which is supposed to represent kind of a satanic type feel. The opening lyric says, I was dreaming when I wrote this. Forgive me if it goes astray. But when I woke up this morning, could have sworn it was Judgment Day. The sky was all purple. There were people running everywhere, trying to run from the destruction. You know, I didn't even care. All about the apocalypse. We're going to discuss what purple means in a minute, because that has also a symbolic. Then he had his opening track for the movie Purple Rain, and on that album, which was called Let's Go Crazy. At the beginning of Let's Go Crazy, he says, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. An electric word, life, it means forever, and that's a mighty long time. But I'm here to tell you, there's something else, the afterworld. A world of never-ending happiness. You can always see the sun day or night. Then the chorus says, and if the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy, punch a higher floor. Now, what is the elevator representing? See, when he died at home in Paisley Park in his elevator, everybody said it was ironic because in his writings, the elevator meant the devil. But a lot of people don't know these things. Now, let me take you to the biggest one, Purple Rain. Prince once did an interview and told you what Purple Rain meant. See, everybody's singing Purple Rain, want to see Bathing Purple Rain. You have no idea that that is an end time song. From Prince's own words, Purple rain is symbolic of the end of the world. It's where the blue sky mixed with the red blood creates a purple rainstorm. So Prince once explained that amidst this apocalyptic event, it is important to be with the one you love and allow your faith to guide you through. The phrase represents a journey through turmoil and loss toward redemption, often involving themes of love, faith, and being together in the face of overwhelming odds. Are we not overwhelming odds? Let me play something for you that he did live from Paisley Park in 1999. And this will sum up exactly what he meant by purple rain, and that he really was in tune with his faith at this point. Now, back in the early days, yeah, Prince was wilding. He was half naked on his album covers. I get that. Didn't say he was living the life that a Christian should be living up in the public. At that time, he really wasn't saved. He actually believed that there was a God, but wasn't exuberating a lot of the lifestyle that Christians should have. It wasn't until years later that he met a guy named Big Chicks Hunsberry in the late 80s, who actually is in Purple Rain. If you've ever seen the movie, he is the big guy that comes to the door and Apollonia is trying to get in. Well, he became a Christian. He was a bodyguard for Prince, along with some other big names in music, Motley Crue, Poison, these guys. I met the man because when he became a Christian, he stopped bodyguarding for everybody and he went on tour to promote the dangers of rock music, what he had seen, and to get people to become Christians. And I'll never forget it, but he says, there's some things about Prince I'm going to be discussing with you here tonight because the man has allowed me to keep my house that he bought me, and I love that house. But he tells you the story of how he talked to Prince and got Prince to become a Christian. Now, a lot of people question that because he was a Jehovah's Witness. I think he did attend a couple of Jehovah's Witness churches, but he never put out there that he was a Jehovah's Witness. But doing that, Prince started having a revelation about himself and about Christ. And then, there's Graffiti Bridge is a movie and an album. He has a couple of songs there that talks about it. But I want to play this clip from you because this further puts this in context. And I think it's something we all should hear because we all should learn from. Again, this was live at Paisley Park, 1999, right as he was getting ready to perform Purple Rain.
Time is a trick. How many birthdays did you have? One. You had one day of birth. You continue to count birthdays. Your mind gives up, and your body deteriorates. This is the trick of time. Man was never supposed to die. We were given everlasting life by the Creator, the Father of Jesus Christ. There is no other King. There is no other King. Only Jesus Christ. Time is a trick. 1999. I don't think so. We could be in the third millennium, perhaps. Might be 1492. Who knows?
So you see, Prince died having these beliefs. He was doing the same thing at Paisley Park for years. He's given this exact same message even before he passed away. I used to live a few blocks away from Paisley Park, and Prince threw concerts all the time. And we always knew when he was having a concert because there was this big purple beacon that sat on top of Paisley Park that he illuminated to the sky when he was having a concert that night. And if you were lucky to get there, he didn't even charge you to come in. He just likes to jam that much. Then at the end, he would say, get a ticket, come back tomorrow night, we do the same thing again. Now, on the flip side of that, there was a B-side to Purple Rain, and it was simply called God. Fitting because God was a tribute to everything God was. Exalting God, praising God, telling you that in the beginning, there was God. He made the heavens and the earth. He gave us light to rule the day. The Lord thy God made the seas. He says that every man was made to be in God's image. That was the B-side of Purple Rain. Now, how many people didn't know the things in which I just told them? I've done deep dives into Prince. I have a big old book about all of his songs. This is what Christianity looks like, people. But again, Prince preached unity. Prince had fans of every color, every race, every nationality. Prince did not care. All he cared was that you came and you had a good time and you enjoyed music. If we take music everywhere we go, music is definitely colorblind. It's man that makes it not so. It's man that says country has to only be a white thing and rap has to only be a black thing. Do I not remind you that I think one of the greatest rappers of all time is white? He trumps some black rappers. Yeah, his name is Eminem. He can out rap some of the black people that I know. He's ruined the careers of some that's trying to come up against him. It does not have to be a color thing. So my message to you guys tonight was I was troubled, but I wanted to come to you guys from a place of unity. I wanted to show you guys some things that I think I discovered. I wanted to give you some insight, maybe some hope. Being a black man, if I have hope in this nation still, that if we came together, we can change it around, that's saying something. Because a lot of us has given up on America, at least in the current state of which it is in. But it's up to you guys to join with everybody else to stand up, fight back. If democracy as we know it goes away, we are up under dictatorship. This is the way that it's starting to go. Go back and look at the Hitler era. That's where we're heading. Kim Jong-un, all of them. But there's still people out there that's fighting, whether you love him or hate him. My governor is one of the biggest fighters right now against all this nonsense that's going on. Even so that there's a special election I got to go vote on November 5th. Because since Trump is trying to redistrict everything in the red states so that I guess it earns him more Republican seats, Gavin Newsom has decided that he wanted to try to curtail that in California. And now he's come out with Proposition 50, which would allow them to be able to do the exact same thing Trump is doing in California alone to gain more seats. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm still looking into it. You got Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, say no, because, the redistricting of any kind is bad. You don't want to do that. But this is what's going on, people. So the next time she's somebody in the street, forget what color they are. Try to forget what political party they're with. Maybe look at that person, try to figure out what that person may be going through that you could do that day to brighten their day up. Because we're all going through something right now. Whether it's politics, whether it's struggling with political violence, whether it's no job, whether it's about to lose your home, everybody's going through something. You just don't know what it is. If we took time to care enough about that and just to stop and have a conversation with somebody, just simply say, hey, I just wanted to say hi, hope you're having a good day. If the person feeling up, maybe, hey, anything you want to talk about to get off your chest may make you feel better. You will never know what that person's going through. There's even sometimes I'm out and I will stop people and say, how are you today? Hey, do you mind if I pray for you? You never know what that does. A quick story of this in action and I'll be out of here. So when I went to Arkansas in March, I had to go and visit the Oasis facilities where LaDonna Humphrey worked to do interviews with the ladies there. On the way, LaDonna says, let's go ahead and stop at Sonic. We'll go ahead and get us a drink. The girl comes out, brings us our drink, and LaDonna gives her, I believe it was a $20 tip. She pays for the drink. She says, keep the rest. That's all for you. The girl immediately looks at LaDonna and says, thank you. You have no idea what I've been through this week. This is a help. And went back inside. As LaDonna and I are leaving, she's going to make that left turn, but you can look right into the Sonic. You can see her back there. The girl is completely in tears. Now, that $20 may have not meant anything to a lot of people. Maybe LaDonna was able to give her that $20 because it means something to her, but it meant less, right? And to the point, what I mean is she didn't need it that moment. So she was able to give that to this young lady that turned her whole night around. It's things like this that if we do as Americans, just as people, no matter what we are or who we are or what sex we are or any of that, it's incredible stories like that that you guys would get and be a part of. I mean, I've done the thing where I've went through Starbucks before. I just had some extra money and I say, hey, I'm going to pay for the person's coffee in the back. Can you please give them this note? Now, the note doesn't contain my name. It doesn't contain anything about me or where they can find me. It doesn't tell them, hey, give me a coffee when you see me or come listen to my podcast. They have no idea who I am. If they were paying attention, then they saw my car because I was in front of them. But the note just simply says, I don't know what you're going through today. You may be able to afford this cup of coffee. I don't know. This cup of coffee could be killing you to buy this. I want to ease that burden today. Your coffee was on me. Only thing I ask is that whenever you're able to, just pay it forward to someone else. Now, I don't know the person behind me. There could be a millionaire. Because here's the thing. Everybody that drives a Mercedes-Benz or, a Range Rover, people, they ain't rich. They're probably killing themselves to make the payment. But I don't know what that person's going through that day. I'm hoping that just by me doing a kind gesture to them with no strings attached brightens up their day. That's what I'm hoping. And if they are going through something, maybe that helped them just a little bit that day to be able to make it through because somebody was kind enough to pay for their coffee. I encourage you guys this week to go out and do at least one act of kindness to anybody that you meet. Preferably somebody that's not like you. Maybe somebody who doesn't look like you. Maybe someone that's a different color than you. Maybe somebody looks like they may be disabled. Maybe somebody you would never talk to before. I promise you, if you just broach that conversation one time, you would be amazed not only the things you may find out about people, you may actually get a new friend, but you will see what America is made of. And that's good people that sometimes just need one word or one gesture of kindness. All right, guys, thank you for listening to me today. I hope you take some of the things I said to heart. I hope you learned some new things today. If you are a Christian, I hope you just hold firm to the Bible and what the Bible says. The problem with this world right now is we're all following a man named Donald Trump. God tells you don't follow man. I think everything that's happening right now was in God's plan. Go read Revelation, you see what I mean. To those of you who are not Christians but are questioning Christianity or Christ-likeness, don't look to what you're hearing on these screens. Go to a church, get yourself a Bible, read it. That's where you need to be. I hope that we can get some unity out of this because that is definitely what we need. But once again, I thank you for joining me today. I know you have many choices in true crime and interview podcasts. I'm grateful that I am one of your choices. And remember that you have been listening to the only three-faceted podcast of its kind. Be good to yourself and each other. And always remember, always stay humbled. An act of kindness can make someone's day. A little love and compassion can go a long way. And remember that there is an extraordinary person in all of us. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Join us on social media. One link to the link tree has it all. Feel free to drop us a line at truecrimeandauthors@gmail.com. Cover art and logo designed by Arslan. Sound mixing and editing by David McClam. Intro script by Sophie Wild and David McClam. Theme music, Legendary by New Alchemist. Introduction and ending credits by Jackie Voice. See you next time on True Crime, Authors, and Extraordinary People.